This is the Seattle Podcasters Podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Rigdon. On this episode, I have Dan from the Not Playing Stupid podcast. How are you today?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Could you tell me a little bit about your podcast?
All right. So it started out about 3 years ago. It was a couple guys, retirees, military retirees, that just kind of want to just talk about old funny stories, in their careers and stuff. The way I got involved with it, one of the original guys, he decided he wanted to. He actually got selected to do the Mars like sleep study thing. So he went off to do that, and so I've always been a buddy with the other guy that did it, and he just asked me to join up. So here I am. Yeah, it's just a couple of guys just telling kind of raunchy, funny jokes about travels and just pretty much anything that comes up. There's a lot of like side bits that come up. Just regular, just hickory dickory dock type stuff.
And you said you were doing it for 3 years?
Yeah, it's been going on for 3 years.
Wow. Okay. How many episodes is that?
We have about 80 now. So the count is like 70 something, but there's a few like bonus episodes in there. So there's about 80 episodes now total. I've been on it for the last 4 now, just personally.
Okay. And so what motivated you or you guys to start this show?
Well, like I said, it was just a couple guys sitting around drinking some beers, said, always telling stories and people laughing at their stories. One of the original guys, Sober Sal, he's the host. He did some stand-up comedy, and he's a really good storyteller. And people said, "Hey, man, you guys should record some of this stuff." So they just kind of decided to do it. Just got the basic materials. Got a just a crappy laptop and just a couple of microphones. Just started doing it.
And had any of you done any podcasting before?
No, a bunch of rookies. That's all we are. Just
And what was the biggest challenge of doing the show then?
Talking to Sober Sal and, me and him doing it too, just trying to get time to do it, figure out a time to record actually, people work full-time jobs and trying to get everybody together to knock it out. It's difficult sometimes to schedule. It's just 2 people. But, we live different in the Pacific Northwest kind of broad area here. So we just kind of try to get it together. So you try to come together and make it happen,
Do you have any tips for folks that are also trying to schedule like 2 people together?
Communication, that's basically what it comes down to. It's just, you could one thing, do the other. You could try to figure out how to make it work for you or for the other person. At the end of the day, it's just kind of semantics potatoes, It's just whoever can make it work. You just got to work around those obstacles.
And what have been some of the biggest rewards of doing this show? Do you do like ads or any Patreon or anything?
No, all of our advertisements is just all word of mouth. It's just our buddies that we know say, "Hey man, you should listen to the story, or listen to this podcast." They listen to it and they just kind of spread the word. That's all it really comes down to, honestly. There's no really not very professional anything going on here. It's just a couple of guys just kind of bullshitting on the podcast, really. Just recording it and then editing it up and then making it happen.
But then you're not putting any ads in the show?
No, we don't do any ads. No, not at all.
Okay. And no Patreon. You're not asking people to give you money? No,
we sold some T-shirts, made some like car stickers, just the little things, just kind of offset some of the costs of like the equipment and the microphone stuff. But the other day, it's just a couple guys just really kind of hanging out, just kind of you're no Daisy type of thing. Just do what you can.
Yeah, luckily it's not a very expensive hobby. Once you have the investment of the mics and stuff, you're pretty much set.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. I was listening to one of your other guys that were on there, and they were just talking about it's just if you want to do it, just grab a couple things, get on Amazon, and just kind of do it.
And where do you host the files?
We do it on Liberated Syndication. That's the one that I picked.
And how do you like them so far? They've been pretty good to you?
Yeah, I think things have been great, pretty smooth. once you get it on there, they're just, people ask me like they've never listened to a podcast before. And it just comes down to, you just pick anyone really, and it's just everywhere. So it's pretty easy to tell the people, that the layperson, how to listen, how to log in and listen, And so, but yeah, those guys, it's pretty smooth. Yeah.
And what kind of microphones do you use?
I'm gonna have to say I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. They're pretty cool looking, they're just, I don't know. It's the sober Sal, he bought all the equipment, so I just show up and tell my funny stories, not to be honest with you.
Do you know what kind of software you use to edit the show?
Yeah, he uses Audacity. He just downloads Audacity and he uses that. He does a fantastic job. I'm not gonna lie. Sal's he's really on top of it when the editing. When you get on there, it's, I've never done a podcast before. He's been doing it for a long time, for a couple of years, and I just kind of started the last couple of months now. But when you're in there recording, you could be tired. It might be too early for a fish sandwich type of the situation, but you get in there and you just want to. You listen to it afterwards. That's after he's done recording, and it's seamless. He does a really good job. It's pretty good.
Do you know how long that post-production usually takes?
He said in the past it's taken him up to 10 hours per episode, because we record for about an hour. I know we record for about an hour. He's got it down a lot better. Record for about an hour. He listens through it the whole thing. That's 1 hour off the bat. Listens to it again a second time, makes some notes, third time, and then he just starts playing with the editing stuff. I think he's got it down to like maybe up to 4 hours now, 3-4 hours per episode.
And how do you prepare for your shows?
We have our Facebook page, and we just kind of put questions out to people. Sometimes listeners want us to talk about something. Sal and I will talk on the phone or through text, and we'll just kind of decide what we're, a topic that we're going to stick with. But at the end of the day, it just kind of goes off the rails, and we just talk about it, everything really. There's not a lot of prep as far as, production type prep or anything. It's just kind of sit down. He turns the mics on and we just start bullshitting,
And do you ever have guests on the show?
We do. We've had guests. We've done listener parties. We've had people come up and show up and on it. We've had a stripper on before. We've had a rapper. There's been there's a guy named Sean, the beer guy. He does another podcast. He gets on every once in a while. Vitez Smith has been on there a couple times from the men's room. So yeah, we get a few people on there for the most part.
And are those folks in person, or do you like over the internet or a telephone?
Always in person, yeah. Yeah, we've done. Sal has done a co-host over the phone, and it's just the quality of the audio it's kind of shitty. So it's just always easier just to get on, and there's the delays and all the kind of stuff. It just makes it really difficult to record. And
do you have any tips for any like beginning podcasters or folks that are maybe thinking about starting?
You got to do it with somebody that you have a chemistry with. There's got to be some sort of like you've known each other for a long time, or you subscribe to the same brand of humor or something. It has to be, or you're interested in a certain subject that you're both can nerd out on and talk about for extended period of time. The chemistry is a big one. You just got to be able to just kind of get each other and not talk over each other when you're recording, all that kind of stuff. It's a little things about it,
And do you know how much time you spend promoting the show, like online?
It's like I said, there's a Facebook page. Sal and myself, we're both moderators on the Facebook page. There's obviously a Twitter page. There's a just all the social media platforms, I guess. The amount of time, it's just throughout the day you get on there and just people are just kind of making jokes, and it's a place where people put funny memes, and it's just kind of an interaction. It's really not. We don't relegate a certain amount of time just for that. It's just as you get time, we both work full time, so we're just as we get time, we just kind of get on there and play around with the listeners.
And what do you think has been the best channel for getting new listeners?
Like I said, word of mouth. we're on a couple of networks that play our show. You get people like that, just friends, family. People see the T-shirts or the stickers on people's cars. They ask about it. The best way is for us, for our particular thing, because we're not looking to like spend a lot of money in advertising and all that kind of stuff. We've kind of said, we made a challenge to ourselves. Let's just do this word of mouth and just kind of have fun with it.
That seems to be the best way to do it anyhow.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
And do you listen to that many podcasts yourself?
I listen to a few. Now that I've been doing this, I'm just, you listen to see like what other people are doing, or, the style that they do it in, or like, if I don't really like how they do that, or I like, that's a good idea, or not to like steal their ideas or anything, but just kind of just get a feel for how things are going. Like I said, this is the first podcast I've ever done or anything like this at all. So for me personally, that's what I do. I like to listen to it. There's a few, like I've listened to that Serial podcast on NPR. That was pretty good. Just a lot. You just kind of play around, just pick one and listen to it for a little bit. And, I'm really not a subscriber to any other ones, to be honest with you.
Okay. So how do you usually discover podcasts, like new ones you're going to listen to?
Sometimes it's just in the name, or somebody tells me about it. Sal listens to a lot of them. He's always telling me about, hey, you listen to this one, this was pretty funny, or, it's not there's really no rhyme or reason to it, obviously.
Well, how can people find your show?
Well, they can look at us, just search the Not Playing Stupid podcast. We're on Facebook, Not Playing Stupid podcast. We're on Twitter, Instagram, or Spotify. We're on, you look on Spotify, just all the players, yeah, all the places, yeah.
All the places. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun.